think it's that one. Yep, right here. Give me just a moment to reorganize some of this. And we're left off with Erika. Furudo Erika. It's Heisen's verb shouldn't have started with a capital letter. Yeah. Like I said, spelling is not my primary concern at the moment. It will be, trust me, but I'm trying to get the conversions down first. That's the main one I'm focusing on. I'm trying to, at the moment, just focus on one thing, get that down, and pick up the rest as I'm going. Focus on the next thing. If I can get the conjugations down a bit better, I can stop worrying about that as much and focus on the spelling and get those right, and then pronunciation or however else the adventure will go. Alright, and if our future Joe's son. Alright, and we left off with George and Shannon confessing their marriage again. Apparently we bored some of the viewers with that. I apologize, but hey, it's a story you guys want me to read. But we did find out that George was his initial emotion for wanting to get together with Shannon was actually envy, which is an interesting aspect. And he was also apparently a dork who thought all gentlemanly people should have girlfriends because they're gentlemanly, which isn't true. That's not how it works. Apparently, if you go off the internet now, apparently if you're a jerk, that's how you get girlfriends. I still don't like that thought process, but whatever. So now we're in the Magic Land with Furudo Erika for some reason. Let's find out why. This volume is okay. Battle-san, when will the crimes start? I've just about had it with this love show. Well, there you go. Be quiet and watch. Sure, fine. I'd hate to yawn unless some spectacular bit of foreshadowing slipped by. Do you have no love? Are there any mystery novels that accept love as proof? As a motive? No, there aren't. Erika laughed coldly and stared down at the two on the game board. Battler watched her quietly. Erika thought she felt a touch of pity in his gaze, and she averted her eyes uncomfortably. I do understand, more or less. Love can at least become a motive for murder. I can interpret the scene beneath the arbor to represent a possible motive for the crime if their engagement is somehow impeded. Then again, no matter how much people talk of love with words that aren't read, it's all just an illusion. Oh yeah, Kanati, if you're joining in, this is episode 6, part 5 of a multi-month-long reading of this show. So if you don't pick up things, don't worry, it's very confusing at the moment. These people are if you haven't read Umineko, and I'm just going to assume you haven't, just for the sake of easiness, a lot of this is going to be really weird. These people are playing a game with their own pieces on an island with a mansion that are doing murder mysteries with witches involved. And the words red truth, if something is said in red, it is a definite truth, an unrefutable fact. Those are some of the bases we're working on, just to get you a bit up to speed if you aren't already. Don't worry, try and pick it up. There's a lot to explain. If you do have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask chat and all that. That's sad. So, you could never love a human without proof given to you by a witch. Please put an end to this frivolous love talk. I'm your enemy, not a friend to whom you can talk about love just for the hell of it. I can't understand you at all right now. What on earth did you figure out? And this character in particular kind of breaks the rules, so she's... yeah. Weren't you and Beato always insulting and trying to kill each other? What kind of truth could you have reached to make you change your emotions regarding her? Please don't tell me that feelings of true love have sprouted from your murderous rivalry or anything like that, okay? Lady Erica. And I just love that her sound is always a shotgun. She pops in, shotgun. Pops in, shotgun. Raises a weapon, shotgun. That's always pretty cool. It's really stupid, but I like that little effect. Lady Erica, please let us have him continue the game's progression. Boring love scenes such as this are best finished quickly. Oh, you've got a point there. Sorry for butting in. Come on, let's move on. That was a definite gaze. Something important we're overlooking. Cannot be seen without love, right? It's Shannon. I've come back. Indeed. The log for today has not been filled out. Yes. I'll do that right away. Canon-kun, thanks for keeping an eye out while I was gone. These are the servants, and they're regarded as furniture for some reason. That was a pretty long break. Canon had already noticed. There was a silvery glint coming from the ring finger on Shannon's left hand. Then I will retire. Please, do not hesitate to wake me if anything occurs. Good night, Genji-san. Sama. Genji disappeared off to the waiting room. After that, only Shannon and Canon remained. Thanks for giving me some time. I'll stay here for the rest, so you can go to sleep now. So, it's my turn next. Yeah. Sorry, but we aren't going to lose. And I won't lose either. Even though you've always been a coward and let Milady take the lead until now. Wasn't it you who taught me, Nei-san? What did I teach you? The past is immaterial when it comes to love. The present is all that matters. If that's true, then I think my present is in no way inferior to yours, Nei-san. Shannon and Canon glared at each other with serious eyes. That period of tension vanished when Shannon chuckled. Yeah, that's good. You and my lady have to give it your all. If you do end up together, make sure you build up a relationship wonderful enough that the rest of us can carry you on with all our hearts. Well, you do have a huge lead on me. There's no helping that. That's what you get for your cowardice before now. I know. That is my sin. Shannon and Canon fished around in their pockets and drew out two small things that glittered gold. They looked like the left and right wings of a gold butterfly. We are furniture. In order to become human and receive the miracle that allows us to love, we must rely on a miracle of magic once again. To think that her brooch would actually prove useful. It's the only magic within our reach. It was the golden butterfly brooch, which Beatrice had once given to Shannon in the hopes of creating love between her and George. Shannon then gave it to Cannon, but he let his emotions get a hold of him and crushed it into pieces. So, when the two wings they held were brought together, it would regain the form of a beautiful butterfly. Then I'll be back soon. After all, they have asked me to play cards with them. Yeah. Good luck. I'm sure my lady will be happy. It's a bit embarrassing. Enjoy that feeling. Cannon left the servant room. He went to go see Jessica and tell her what he had determined to do. Shannon quietly watched him go. The fragment of the brooch and the engagement ring left off a gold and silver glint. Right. That takes me back. That's something I gave Shannon, if I recall. I always wondered if they lost it after Cannon stepped on it, but it seems they still had it the whole time. That's the golden butterfly brooch, isn't it? This will take a lot of time to explain. Just try and pick it up. I read about the magical brooch that can save a love relationship in Feather and Son's book. That had been the first time that Beatrice, Witch of the Forest, had interacted with a human and given them her power. Bit by bit she had transformed from a mere ghost to the ruler of the mansion at night. And by making the servants believe in her, she had wiped away the anti-magic power. And then, it eventually became possible for her to appear openly in front of Shannon, whose magic resistance had grown particularly low, and who had begun to believe in the existence of Beatrice. To Beato, who had been unable to interact with anyone for many years, this conversation with Shannon must have been especially fun. That's why I generously gave her the butterfly brooch. I was in quite a good mood. It is no common thing for a heartless witch such as myself to be so gracious. But it's wonderful. You brought a pair of future lovers together. Of course. I did not do it to pamper them. It was in exchange for smashing that hateful spirit mirror that had repressed my magical powers. Thanks to that, I was able to regain much of my power all in one go. But then, one night, purple lightning smashed the shrine. Those of the surrounding islands called it an evil omen. Now that I think of it, that must have been a prelude to Beatrice-sama's resurrection. Kumasawa had the rest of the night off, so she had let Erika talk her into drinking a bit, and was chatting about the legend of Akujikishima and Beatrice in a happy, tipsy mood. Erika would nod from time to time, but besides this, she listened in complete silence. She wasn't actually taking notes, but she was gathering information on the whiteboard inside her head. Then, she frowned as though noticing something out of place, and held up her hand. Wait a second. Chotto stoppo. Yes? That shrine was built by a traveling Shugenja monk to seal up the evil spirits of Akujikishima. Isn't that right? Yes, that is correct. It was the one who possessed a vast supernatural power, and who placed that power within the mirror. and place it within the shrine as a sacred mirror to seal the evil spirits. Something feels off about that. Why would a shrine to seal the evil spirits of Akujigishima also seal Beatrice? Well, that's, because the sacred mirror is spiritual power. I see. So, it's this really convenient sacred mirror that works on both evil spirits from the east and witches from the west. Got it. I'm still not satisfied, but I'll back off there for now. What I don't understand is why Beatrice can't stand spiderwebs. According to the legend, the evil spirits of Akujigishima despise spiderwebs. So they were apparently used as wards against evil in the surrounding islands. In fact, spiders are a useful bug. There's nothing strange about the fact that island farmers had treasured them. It's very possible that they were tied to the story of evil spirits and became known as charms against evil, leading to a tradition of people treating this useful bug with care through the generations. Spiders are actually really good insects to have, or arachnids. That's just the legend of Akujigishima. The origins for the legend of the witch, Beatrice, came after Ushimiya Kinzo moved to this island, when rumors sprouted about the mysterious legend of the gold, as well as the witch mistress who gave it to him. But yeah, so be friendly to spiders. They get rid of all the bad and annoying bugs for you. They rarely bite. In other words, the evil spirits of Akujigishima and the Golden Witch Beatrice were originally completely different things. And yet, the stories treat them like they're the same. Well, now. The evil spirits of Akujigishima, I've been saying that more times in the past 10 minutes than I have my whole life. The evil spirits of Akujigishima couldn't stand spiderwebs, so neither could Beatrice. That sort of reasoning has been applied all over the place. When it was pointed out that this was strange, Kumasawa was lost for an answer. The doorknob to Kinzo-san's study has a scorpion magic circle drawn on it, which represents a charm against evil in Western society. Sorcery. That's why the Western Witch Beatrice can't touch it. I can understand that part. But there's no reason for Beatrice to dislike spiderwebs. I don't remember spiderwebs ever being included among things witches can't stand. On the contrary, wouldn't spiders be the friends and minions of a witch? See? Well... Hey, man. Welcome. In my opinion, those two legends about the evil spirits of Akujigishima and the witch Beatrice have been mixed together a little. In fact, maybe they've been fully fused together as one. The legend of Akujigishima is a fairy tale created by fishermen fearful of reefs in the Rokkenshima area. However, there was no visual image to go along with those evil spirits. Were they people, or monsters, or ghosts without legs? There's no mental picture of them. People are bad at imagining things without visuals. That is slightly true. That's when the legend of the witch called Beatrice came in. A witch is a lot easier to picture than evil spirits. And on top of that, Kinzo-san has had a portrait of Beatrice drawn and displayed. In other words, the lack of a visual image, which was the one weak point in the legend of Akujigishima, was finally completed. Since then, perhaps the two legends have been mixed together. Well, I wonder. It is a bit confusing for an old lady such as myself. Kumasawa laughed to smooth it over, wiping away a cold sweat. She might have seemed confused, but she actually did understand what Erika was saying. In truth, she had been vaguely aware of how the legend of Akujikishima, which had been around before Urushimuya Kinso had come to Rokkenjima, and the legend of the Golden Witch, the story of the woman who had given Kinso a vast quantity of gold, had both transformed. She didn't want to acknowledge it, but she knew. The setting where Beatrice hated the spirit mirror and spider webs. This had been based on the ancient legend of Akujikishima. The evil spirits, part of that legend, had just been replaced by the witch of the portrait. So, if there really was someone claiming to be the Golden Witch Beatrice, I'd really like to ask her whether she actually does hate spider webs or not. What happens when she touches them? It is said that witches and their minions receive burns when they touch spider webs. So that is probably what would happen, I suppose. That's not bad. Splendid witch trial. If the spider web touches her and she gets burned, then she's an evil spirit, not a witch. And if nothing happens, then it proves she's just a human. In other words, whether she's burned or not, it will prove that the Golden Witch doesn't exist. The legend of the witch is nothing more than the legend of Akujikishima reboiled with a new face on it. Well, simply by the existence of the legend itself, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuta Erika. What do you think, everyone? Everyone, what do you think about this logical and wonderful conclusion? Though only the two of them were in the lounge, Erika faced in the direction an invisible audience would have been, and shrugged. And just as Erika imagined, the targets of her comments actually were there, listening in. Spider webs? They burn if you touch them? When Beato the Elder snapped her fingers, a graceful silver spider slipped down from the ceiling, hanging by a transparent thread. Afterwards, only a single silver strand remained. Timidly, Beato stretched her finger out towards the spider's string. Then, she touched it. I'm fine. You are? Huh? Beato the Elder lifted up a white pale finger, and after showing it to her little sister, she traced the silver string with it. There was a stench like a single hair being burnt. Once again she held her finger up in front of Beato, who was stunned. There was a thin burn line, as though someone had traced across it with a razor. What's going on? That's what I would like to know. Why are you unharmed? I don't know. What I don't understand is why you do get burned by touching a spider web. I do not know. It has always been like that since I first gained consciousness. Then, are you... Beato hesitated. However, her question was clear. No. I am not one of the evil spirits of Akujikishima. I am Beatrice, ruler of Rokkenjima's night. Even I do not know why I have the same weakness as this island's evil spirits of old. Are spiderwebs the only thing you can't handle? As this Erika person said, I cannot touch the doorknob on Kinzo's study. That scorpion magic circle burns me. For me, trying to open the door to that study is like trying to pick a red-hot horseshoe out of a fire. What about you? Huh? Scorpion magic circles, you mean? The older sister snapped her fingers again. When she did, the surrounding scene bent and twisted, and they had suddenly moved to the place in front of Kinzo's study. And there was the doorknob engraved with a scorpion magic circle. Those who research magic must have a refuge sealed off from both human and spiritual disturbances. It's no surprise that Kinzo chose to seal off his study and place a charm such as this here. And, unfortunately, that affects me as well. She gently grasped the doorknob. As she did, a violent burning sound, unbelievably stronger than the one caused by the spiderweb, rang out. Onai-sama, are you okay? Your hand! Her hand had been horribly burnt, and Beato couldn't help but avert her eyes. Fear not. The scratch will heal quickly. Apparently, it would heal by itself if left alone. The older sister seemed to heal at an inhuman rate. However, it seems that you can handle it just fine. She timidly poked the doorknob. Nothing happened. Slowly, she touched it with her entire palm, but she felt nothing but a pleasantly cool sensation. Strange. Though you are my double, you are different from me in several ways. Well, I might be able to touch the doorknob. If I ever get burnt like you did, I don't think I'd heal that easily. It's as though you're a normal human. Yes. Even I find it a little hard to believe that I'm a witch. I can't use magic like you, and I can't get strange burns or heal from them later. Father believed that I was a great witch reborn, but I cannot believe that. Who are you? I am Beatrice. I was born for Father's sake. And you, One-sama? I am also Beatrice. I used magic to give Kinzo gold, and later became a soul in the formless witch that haunts this island. Just who on earth are we? Unlike me, you seem to be being in possession of a body. A being in possession of a body. Huh? Really? Yes? I thought of it while listening to that Erika person. I am a witch who can use magic, but has no body. And you are a witch who has a body, but can use no magic. Eventually, perhaps we will become one, each filling in what the other lacks, to form the true, complete Beatrice. It seemed to make sense. Both of the Beatrices were missing something. If they became one, then they would surely be very close to the Beatrice and Battler desired. Do you want to try? Huh? Hold out your hand. The older sister slowly raised her palm and held it out before Beato. The large burn from a second ago really had started to heal already. It may be possible for us to become one. I want to know as well. By becoming one with you, I want to learn about my future self. Beato also raised her hand slowly, and the two hands touched. But nothing happened. Perhaps this meant that, while they were fated to become one eventually, that time had not yet come. For me, being burned by spiderwebs is perfectly normal. However, you didn't even know about it. In the same way, you say that the reason you were born was for your father's sake. Apparently, that father is Ushumiya Battler. I know him as a rare guest who only comes a few times a year. But I cannot understand what connection you and I have with such an infrequent visitor. Surely, we must learn more about each other. Yeah, you're right. I get the feeling that learning about each other will lead us to something very important. On the other side lies the single future Beatrice. No, it may be more correct to call her the true form we are meant to possess. With their hands still joined, the two Beatrices swore to fill in the parts the other lacked, and regain their single form. Bit by bit, Beato was walking down the path that led to the former Beatrice. Ichiro, Nocturne of Truth and Illusions. I really do like that song. And yet the window, which I had supposedly smashed, had been fixed as though it had never broken in the first place. How can I escape from this creepy room? Why am I locked up in this eerie room all alone? I want to get out. I have to get out. Please let me out. And the door was sealed with a firm chain. I could open it a crack, but only enough to peek out into the corridor at best. Even getting just a fist through it would probably be hard. The window wouldn't budge either. It was no better than a barred prison window. The bathroom didn't even have a window. The only thing that could get out of there was the water that flowed out if you turned on the tap. No matter what I do, I can't think of a way out of here. While shut up in a place like this, I truly am a prisoner. Unless someone comes from outside to save me, I won't be able to get out for all eternity. In that case, can't I just call for help? Yes, the tiny gap I can make in that door must exist so that I can call for help. But can I make the words come out? Earlier, I tried to call out for help, but for some reason the words couldn't escape my mouth. Maybe I was just confused. I might have lost my voice in my haste and confusion. I'll open the door and make that crack appear one more time. The warm light in the hallway flowed in, making the darkness of the room stand out all the more. Though I couldn't hear any voices, I did feel something peaceful. I'm sure everyone's in the room at the other end of the hallway, chatting happily about something. If I can just call out, surely someone will come to save me. Holding back some indescribable fear, I tried yelling once more. But the result was the same. It was like trying to yell underwater. All I did was get out of breath, unable to call out in the slightest. Even though I could say as much as I wanted if I just grumbled to myself inside the room. Whenever I tried to make my voice reach outside, I choked and was unable to say anything. I understand. My body isn't the only thing locked up in this eerie closed room. My voice is too. Thinking that I could use some other kind of sound to call for help, I tried opening and closing the door violently, making the chain rattle. It does sound as though it's just clanking noisily, but it's surely no good. Even this sound is being locked inside the closed room. No matter how harsh a sound I make, I'm sure it'll be quieter than a leaf falling by the time it reaches the other end of the corridor. I tried using the hateful chain that sealed the door to make a sound to call for someone, but that only deepened my despair. This chain? That's insane. Just a second ago, it was a stiff chain that looked like it might be used to seal a monster away. But at some point, it had transformed into a normal chain lock. This changes everything. Now I can just undo it from the inside. I tried to undo it, but the chain wasn't long enough for that while the door was still open a crack, and I couldn't get it off. Obviously. Calm down. I gulped and calmly closed the door. Then, when I saw that the chain had slackened enough, I touched it with my finger to make sure. When I was little, I hated chains, because I could never get them undone right. However, that was a long time ago. Now I can undo something like this. Anyone could. It's easy. Clank. I imagined the demon who'd locked me in this room using this as a trap to give me hope, just to make me despair even more. But I pushed those thoughts aside for the time being. I undid the chain lock, and the chain dangled there right before my eyes. Now, there's no lock sealing this door. Please, don't torment me anymore, and just open normally. Slowly, the door opened. When I closed the door to undo the chain, the warm light from the hallway got cut off. If I open it again, what if that warm light is gone this time? I was even afraid of stuff like that. However, that was just me over-imagining things. Slowly, quickly, no, I guess this is normal for a door. As the door let out an annoying creak, the exit from this cursed closed room finally opened. I did it! I did it! Even my cry of joy was strangled. But that doesn't matter anymore. All that matters is that I can get out. I poked my head out and looked left and right down the corridor. The warm corridor. I could sense people having fun at the other end. Everyone's right there. Let's go, right now. At that moment, something cold and heartless crushed my throat. It was as though an iron loop had been fastened around my neck and pulled on hard from behind. No, not as though. Without my knowing, at some point, a thick metal collar had been fastened around my neck. When did this happen? When I turned round, I despaired even more. Out from the inner side of the door I had just opened, a thick chain had extended and attached itself to this collar I was wearing. I pulled on it, but it didn't even budge. When I shook it, the whole door creaked. What the hell? The chain that connected to my collar was attached to the inner side of the door. Yes, the same vanishing chain that had secured the door a short while back had suddenly become a chain holding me in place. That's insane! That's insane! Damn it, what's going on here? I pulled with all my strength, trying to tear the whole door off, but I knew from repeated experiments that it wouldn't even budge. I'm sure this chain will disappear once I go back inside the room, but it'll never let me leave that room. Though it had apparently turned back into a normal chain lock, nothing had actually changed. The chain lock still bound me to that room. Tears flowing down my face, I pulled with all I had. It was completely useless. No matter what I did, I'd never tear it loose. And I wasn't even permitted to call out for help. I felt a confused anger at how the demon had mercilessly made me think that I'd escape for just an instant. But no matter how much I yelled, no voice came out, and no one on the other end of the corridor could hear me. Then I noticed an odd stain on the wall of the corridor. It wasn't a stain. They were letters traced out by a finger that had been covered in red paint. Those letters, which looked like they'd been drawn in blood, answered my biggest question. The chain lock must be set. You're allowed to unset it, but it must then be reset. Unless it is set, this exit of yours will be unusable. I instantly understood the meaning of that ominous message. Then I tried it out, and understood completely. When I returned to the room, and reset the chain lock, the collar around my neck disappeared. When I undid the chain lock again, that heavy feeling around my neck returned. In other words, I cannot leave this room while the chain lock is still unset. In that case, why don't I just set the chain while outside the room? I undid the chain one more time. The collar and chain appeared around my neck again. I stepped out into the corridor and closed the door behind me, leaving only the slightest of cracks. I stuck my hand through that crack, grabbed the dangling chain, and tried to reset it somehow. Damn it! Even though it was so easy to do from the inside, why is it so hard to do from the outside? The gap needed to be wide enough if I wanted to manipulate the chain well. However, that made the chain too short to reach. To make the chain reach just a bit further, I'd have to close the door a little bit more. But if I do that, there won't be enough of a gap to fit my hand in. Of course, that was perfectly natural. Chain locks are made to be used from the inside. They'd be completely pointless if you could set and unset them from the outside. That's why the length of the chain is especially chosen to prevent anyone from setting or unsetting it from the outside. Then, can I use some kind of hard and thin tool? If the gap of the door is just a finger's width across, that's more than enough for the chain to reach. If I could just bend a wire hanger so that it fits through the crack, and work the chain with that. That's right, there's a closet just to the side of the door. Could there be some hangers in there? Found one. Oh, thank God. A single, cheap-looking hanger like the one you might find in the laundry room was hanging there. Really? I'm pretty sure that when I last looked a short while ago, nothing like this was in the closet. Who cares? Quickly, quickly! I twisted the wire hanger, bending the end with the tip around. I formed a loop at the end to grab at things with, making for a sort of a burglar's tool. I then dashed out into the corridor again and closed the door almost as far as it would go. My wrist could never pass through this. However, if I close it this much, the chain should have enough extra length to spare, and this crack is large enough for me to stick the hanger through. Now it's just a matter of technique. If I keep trying, I'll definitely be able to do it eventually. I'm certain of it. It's harder than it looks. But the chain is long enough. It isn't impossible. I had finally gotten my hands on the one way to escape. It was hard, yes, but it was theoretically possible. If it's possible, I'll be able to get out. I'll be able to escape from here. At that moment, I felt a very heavy weight on the far side of the door. It felt as though someone inside the room had pressed their forehead against the door, and was drawing closer. And she, the witch, had laughed. Then I felt a powerful and strange force on the wire hanger. Is she trying to grab it away from me? Yeah, right, like hell I'd let it go. Like hell I'd let my one key out of here get stolen while my guard's down. Fortunately, I'd stuck my wrist through it so that it wouldn't drop it if my hand got tired. You won't be able to snatch this out of my hands. The witch on the other side of the door laughed at me. Then, I noticed something weird. I looked at my left hand, which I had pressed against the door to hold it in place. and between the fingers of that hand, I could see something red. They were red letters. I realized immediately. At some point in time, even more bloody letters had been drawn on the door, and my left hand had been covering them up. Still fighting against the vice-like strength of the witch behind the door, I moved my left hand to the side. Where that hand had been, bloody letters had indeed been drawn. And there, as though someone had predicted that I'd struggle this way from the very beginning, was a message from the witch to me. It is impossible to set or unset the chain lock from the outside by any means. All tricks done from the corridor had been sealed by the red letters. No way. There was suddenly a terrible sound, and the force pulling on the hanger was suddenly released. And then, when I pulled it out and looked, I lost all hope. As though it had been hit by the acid of the room's darkness, the tip of the hanger had burnt and bubbled and melted off. Now it's pitifully short. This can't be used for anything. It would be useless to search for a substitute. All schemes to set the chain from the outside have been prevented. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I threw the remnants of the wire hanger against the floor, faced the hallway filled with the warm light, and called for help. However, I just choked and unable to speak at all. Everyone's just down the corridor, and everything's peaceful there. I can't hear the voices, but I know. I'm sure they're all having a good time playing cards. Please, someone notice. Someone, save me. Yeah. This time, it wasn't the witch's voice. It was the happy voices of everyone else, which I could hear coming from the other side of the hallway. Someone, come here and save me. There's a reason for that whole scene. I'm still not entirely sure. Sorry, but I'm out. George slammed his last card down, ending the game with his victory once again. I'm beginning to think it might actually be Beatrice, a reincarnation of the rules. But I don't know, there's a lot of vagueness about there, and purposely there, and so no voices and just the talk of themselves. I don't know. We'll see. Still a mystery. Everyone gasped in unison. The cousin room was filled with laughter as they enjoyed their card game. Oh, so you really did have it, George Aniki. Damn you. Damn you, six of spades. Your eight of diamonds was pretty nasty too, battler. So close. You're incredible, George Anitan. You won again. Yep, looks like we've won again. Maria couldn't really hold her own in an all-out battle. She had teamed up with George, which is why she was celebrating his victory. Utter defeat. Cannon winced and let his cards drop to the table. The game of sevens between Ken and the cousins had been a fierce battle. Normally, they would take things easy since Maria was there, so this sort of game was rare. Cannon had started taking the game seriously, unwilling to lose. So George and Battler had responded, and the battle had grown fierce. Unlike Battler, who was carefree enough to enjoy it whether he won or lost, Cannon's mood changed drastically with every victory and defeat. It was less of a dislike for losing, and more that he just wasn't used to playing. He wasn't used to trading a few wins and losses with his opponents. So he even took losses within the game seriously. Since he had resolved to win and had unfortunately challenged the veteran players George and Battler, the result was plain to see. As Cannon slumped his shoulders, Jessica slapped him on the back. Hey, you almost had it. I love fighting all out like this. Whether you go all out or not, if you just lose in the end, it's all pointless. It's all useless. Use the right phrase. That's not true. If you really give it your all, there's no reason to get all depressed when you lose. If you lost after hardly trying, then you'd be grumbling and complaining about how you would have won if you'd taken it seriously, right? That's right. People who really give it their all never complain. They're always cheery, no matter what the result is. You're right. And they can be scarier than anyone else. That is true. They always learn something from their experience and grow. Very true. I was a coward, so I could never learn anything. I see that I am still immature. I am furniture, so any dreams I might have are pointless. Because he'd rigidly believed that, he distanced himself from everything, shutting himself away. However, during that same time, Shannon had undergone many life adventures, and now her hand was resting on the door, separating furniture and humans. The old Cannon would only have seen this card game as a way to pass the time. However, the new Cannon was now capable of gaining something new from this experience. That's probably what it means to grow. Furniture does nothing but rot with the passage of time. The ability to grow is a privilege given only to humans. Thanks for playing with us. You probably had work to do, like filling in the log, right? I'm really glad you decided to hang out with us. Don't worry about it. I had a lot of fun too. Or should I say that I've realized that this sort of thing is fun. Thanks for pushing so hard for me to come. Let's challenge ourselves more and more. And let's go find more and more things you didn't know about. By the way, about what we were talking about earlier, ever wanted to try playing guitar? Guitar? Well, I don't want to force you or anything, but it must be very difficult. Yeah, I guess. But I'll do a good job teaching you, and I'll even practice with you. Well, I guess I'm not much of an expert myself. At first, Cannon was scared that he might make a complete fool of himself if he touched a musical instrument for the first time in his life. After all, he knew that screwing up like that would make him feel bad. However, Cannon was starting to learn. It's only natural that I'll be bad when I first start. If I try to run away from it, I'll never learn a thing for all eternity. I'll never achieve anything. That's right. Isn't that why people love it when they feel themselves improving? Even I sucked at making my left and right hands move at the same time when I first started. But I slowly got the knack of it, and it started to feel more and more natural. I'd like to reach that level too. If one path to that goal is playing music with you, my lady, I would love to do that with you. Really? Yes. I'm sure I'll be horrible when I start. I might even make you lose hope in me at times. But if I've given it my all, even messing up is no big deal. That's what I learned from you, all, just now. You're embarrassing me. I love you more than ever, my lady. Because I averted my eyes for so long, even though you shone like the sun, I never noticed you when you were right in front of me, right there next to me. Then I'd better work even harder to make you love me even more. Candid's serious and competitive words were more than enough to make Jessica shy. However, Candid's expression unexpectedly clouded. My lady, the reason I love you is so clear. Because of that, I can't bear not knowing. Not knowing what? Why did you start to like me? Unlike you, I don't shine in any sense. Even now, I'm just clinging to your back as you shine the way. I can't think of any reason why you would love someone as shabby as me. That's not true, okay? There are all kinds of good things about you, Canon-kun. Let me swallow my pride and ask, what about me made you like me, my lady? Canon hung his head. Since he had never learned anything on his own, he had never been able to take the initiative with her in any way. The fact that he was accepting her affection one-sidedly, unable to do anything but simply receive it, made him sad and frustrated at himself. Jessica was lost for words. After all, compared to the reason that Canon had started to love Jessica, Jessica's reason was a lot more vague. She had heard Shannon talking about her love with George, and at school she and her friends had always talked about relationships with boys. There would have been nothing strange about a girl, fascinated by the idea of romance, developing an interest in a nearby member of the opposite sex. However, if you put that into words, it might be misinterpreted to mean that any nearby boy would have done just as well. The feeling she felt at this very instant. She really did love Canon, and she truly wanted to experience romance. As a result, they might end up together, or they might not. However, if she reached that result without holding back, she could accept it no matter which it was. That's why she was able to become serious and honest about how she felt. However, she couldn't find the right words to tell Canon this, and even myself. It's horrible of me to try and make you say it for me. That's not true. After all, it's the first question any girl would like to ask after being given a love confession. What part of me do you like? It was immature of me to ask you that. How could anyone love someone so immature? Wait, that's not... Jessica panicked, trying desperately to explain how she felt. However, Canon was calm, and then he spoke. In that case, I want you to love me, the way I already love you. I've decided to start changing myself, so that can happen. I can hardly imagine that you would love me as I am. But someday, no matter what... Yeah. I'm absolutely sure you'll become a wonderful person, Canon-kun. A guy so cool that I can't get my eyes off you. Until then, I'll stick by you all the way. We have plenty of time. But unfortunately, there isn't that much time left. What do you mean? It usually saddens you when I talk about furniture. However, This is something I must tell you, and it is also something I must fight for with all my soul. What are you talking about? I don't want to hear any more of that I'm furniture so I can't fall in love talk. You're human, not furniture. Yes, I would like to become human. However, I am still furniture. In that case, just do it. Become human. The witch taught me once about the single element of this world. According to her, it's love. It's something that humans born into this world can take for granted. However, it is not something that those not from this world, who were born as furniture, can take for granted. In order to gain it for themselves, they must have magic or a miracle. In just the same way that Nason and George-sama would never have ended up as they have without borrowing the power of that golden butterfly brooch. I don't really get that last part. What don't you understand? Let me hear it. Since this game began, a large portion of the time has been spent on Shannon and Cannon's determination to fall in love. I've got no problem interpreting that as a story of growth and teenage determination for a girl and boy who call themselves furniture. But one of the assumptions they make feels really out of place to me. Why is magic necessary? Is that it? Both Shannon and Kenning call themselves furniture. They've always claimed that there can't be love between furniture and humans. At that point, the magic of the golden butterfly brooch comes into play, and as the miraculous result of its magic, love is established between Shannon and George Oni-chan. That's what they claim. Is what you... Yes, did you... What, maybe? Did you just what? Is what you... Yes? Did you whatever you, I guess? Sure, let's say yes. I'm gonna go with yes. I have no idea what you're asking, man. Welcome. Might it mean merely that forbidden love between people of different classes would be unmanageable without a miracle of magic? True. I can accept that Shannon and Cannon, who were servants in forbidden love with members of the family, and suffering for it, might debase themselves by calling themselves furniture. Then, what is it that you cannot accept? Without borrowing the power of magic once more, marriage will be impossible. That seems to be a common understanding between Shannon and Cannon. I just can't understand that part. After meeting in secret for quite some time, George and Shannon had finally gotten engaged. Both were fully prepared for it emotionally, and though there would be some trouble with the relatives, it would probably be impossible for anyone to prevent their marriage by this point. Trying to stand between two who wish to be wed is as foolish as standing in front of an arrow and trying to catch it. Still can be done, though. Exactly. Now that George Oni-chan has sworn to protect his lover for the rest of their lives, he has no need to fear opposition and disinheritance from his parents. On the contrary, he might even consider that a perfect test of his love for her. In other words, they will be married, no matter what. No one can stop them. And they've both consented to the engagement. No one can stop them or impede them. Trying to break apart lovers is a foolhardy venture. Yeah, and that's what's strange. There's no need for magic. If George and Shannon had wanted Eva's approval for their engagement, then magic might really have been necessary. After all, Eva had forbidden its relationship with her. No matter how George spoke on Shannon's behalf, the chances of Eva being convinced were very nearly zero. If that were the case, it would be understandable if they'd wanted a magical miracle to make Eva acknowledge that engagement. Shall I begin guerrilla warfare during these times? Guerrilla. No, it's yeah, go ahead, stock up on bananas, get some trees in the area, and just be ready. It's do as Harambe did. Yes, exactly. However, George Onichan has already made an oath. He doesn't care whether his parents approve of the engagement or not. Yeah. There's nothing standing in the way of their engagement. And Shannon should know that well herself. So why is it that now, on this night where the proposal went so smoothly, she's still praying for a miracle of magic? According to the furniture, she won't even have the right to marry without such a miracle. And there you go. It means that Shannon has accepted George's proposal, but she knows that there's still some kind of barrier that can't be overcome without a magical miracle. And that barrier isn't something that they can overcome by their own efforts. That's why they need this miracle called magic. Why do they need magic? If two people love each other, what other miracle could they possibly need to be together? I see. Featherin listened to Angie's interpretation, smiling in a satisfied way. Apparently, she had already reached that conclusion and enjoyed watching Angie finally manage to do the same. And that same question applies to Canon as well. The love between him and Jessica Onechan has just begun, but their emotions are pure. There's nothing standing in their way. They're already in a loving relationship, even without the golden butterfly brooch. The relationship they've started might easily last for years, eventually resulting in marriage. There's nothing standing in their way either. As long as they don't seek approval from Kraus and Natsuhi, it seems that they will not need a magical miracle either. Exactly. Canon watched how Shannon lived and changed his own way of life. Then he let his true feelings be known and started a relationship with Jessica Onechan. There's no need for magic anymore. If it were a one-sided love, then he might need a love charm or something. But their feelings are already mutual. They've already communicated their intentions to one another. So why do they still need a magic miracle? Both furniture were in relationships of mutual love. There shouldn't have been any need for a miracle any longer. So why do they still desire some miracle? And on top of that, the single brooch was portrayed as bestowing only a single miracle. It felt almost as though Shannon was hesitating because, if she used up that miracle for herself, Canon's chances at love would be automatically sealed away for eternity. So, this is the question. Why is furniture not allowed to love? So, you ask why love will not be permitted without the miracle known as magic. And also, though the furniture laments with such certainty that they're unable to love, this golden butterfly brooch is supposed to give them permission to do it. Just what on earth is it? Of course. It is the crystallization of magic. However, like most magics, it can be burnt by the anti-magic toxin. So, it can only have an effect for those who believe in magic and witches. Correct. So, Shannon, who was capable of interacting with me, was able to make use of its benefits. However, if Shannon had dropped it on a sandy beach, and someone who knew nothing picked it up, if that person was shrouded in the anti-magic toxin, they wouldn't be able to make use of the brooch's magic power. Precisely. A witch's magical items often lose their power if they are not handed over directly. However, just as how a witch can manifest herself and her existence is acknowledged by a great many humans, and the anti-magic toxin disappears, the power of that magical item can also be preserved if it is believed in by a great many humans. It's ironic. No matter what kind of magic we witches give out, everything depends on whether the humans we give it to can accept it. I have heard that the same goes for medicine. Even with the exact same medicine, humans who know of the medicine's effect experience it to a greater degree. Oh, I think I understand. When taking cold medicine, I've gotten the feeling that it's more effective when you read the description on the bottle. As she listened, Beato thought that magic sounded a bit like a ritual. When most humans think of magic, they think of incredible miracles being performed one after another in front of a crowd of other humans. However, this true magic that the older sister spoke of sounded almost like a ritual, something that has no effect if the person using it doesn't believe. Shannon's heart was captured by George bit by bit as he grew by leaps and bounds. However, she had given up, thinking that one of a different class such as herself would never find love with him. That was when Beatrice had given her the golden butterfly brooch and encouraged her. Giving up means that you've got zero chance of success. However, if the power of magic makes you think there might be some chance of your wish coming true, then the odds of it happening are at least greater than zero. Zero remains zero forever, so miracle is a fitting word to describe even a faint chance coming into existence. Humans can use magic to defeat resignation, the process by which they themselves make the probability of success zero. When a human refuses to give up, though their chances of success may be small, those chances do exist. And the more determined they become, the greater those odds rise. It was easy to imagine Shannon making earnest wishes upon that brooch, believing in its effect, and trying little things over and over again to get George to like her. The power of belief becomes magic, and those who make others believe are witches. Those who make others believe are witches. That's an interesting way to put it. If you think about it, it's true. Let's say a witch steps out into a spotlight, waves her staff in front of a crowd of onlookers, and makes a rabbit appear out of thin air. The many people who see it will surely assume it to be a sleight of hand. They might wonder at how it was accomplished, but they'll surely say that it couldn't have been real magic. And when they applaud, it will be for a splendid trick that only appeared to be magic. But what if someone performed a sacred ceremony inside a great ancient temple in front of a crowd of believers, and ended up with the exact same result? Would any of the people there think it was a sleight of hand? In fact, in the ancient past, when magic tricks as a form of entertainment didn't even exist and divine spirits were worshipped, this would doubtlessly have been a miracle of magic. In that case, could this here be magic? Uh-huh. Well now, what will be the first spell performed by the witch unable to use magic? Here, I have an empty teacup. There is nothing inside it. Yes, it is empty. And then, you take it, turn it like this, and place it upside down on the table. And then, what next? Let's both close our eyes and chant the incantation. It was the same magic that had been used to give Maria candies. Beato the elder grinned and closed her eyes. When she saw this, Beato slowly chanted the incantation. Come, try to remember what was inside the cup. Indeed. Come, try to remember. What was inside the cup? As she chanted, Beato slowly opened her eyes and made sure that the older sister was repeating her with her eyes closed. Then, a single gold butterfly appeared out of nowhere, fluttered down onto the overturned cup, and scattered away in a golden splash. May I open my eyes now? Yes. Please open your eyes and inspect the contents of the cup. Well now, let us see how well your first bit of magic has performed. Taking her time and dragging out the suspense a little, the older sister lifted up the cup. Oh? How is it? When the cup was lifted up, there lay a single golden rose petal. Does this count as magic? Yes, it does. You used magic to create a golden flower petal inside an overturned cup. It was a splendid bit of magic. That was a golden message. Without love, it cannot be seen. That much I understand. It may be viewed as a trick. It may also be believed to be magic. It all depends upon the toxin of the individual. Then again, while this can explain some of the magic that's been used in the past, it can't explain everything. To get back to the point, all this stuff about believing in magic and rituals, it doesn't answer the question, what was this golden butterfly brooch, which allowed the furniture, who strongly believed that they could not love, to finally find love? If we blindly accept the story of those two Beatos as true, might we assume that magic had the power to cancel out their feelings of resignation? Why mustn't furniture fall in love? Why is the power of the magic brooch necessary? Yes, it does seem at a glance as though what you and the Beatos are saying provides an answer, though a vague one. However, let me say this as a reader. I can't accept this as you've presented it. You cannot accept it, you say? The tragedy those furniture are struggling to resist is way too big to be explained away by that. I doubt they could reform their way of thinking just because they were given some charm for making relationships. It's true that the brooch gave Shannon the chances she needed to get together with George Oni-chan. But sometime after that, she said she wanted to deepen the relationship without borrowing the power of magic, and she even tried to give the brooch back to Beato. At that point, she supposedly rejected the miracle of magic for a time. So, why would that power be necessary again? Well, now, perhaps there's no way to say it except that love and marriage are very different things. Featherin laughed lightly. She had probably formed a theory of her own and was laughing at Angie, who hadn't reached it yet. Let me hear it. What's your view? I'd like to keep that to myself for just a while longer. And of course, watching you form doubts and let your mind race is one of the joys of reading. Is one of the joys of being read aloud to. If I gave you my views, you would accept them and stop thinking. Then, having you read aloud would be no fun. So you're having me read a mystery novel you already know the answer to, just so you can enjoy watching me blunder about. Well, I am the Witch of Theater going. If you wish to laugh at my bad taste, please do not hold back, my Miko. Wah ha ha ha. I understand that part of magic is created by a believing heart, and that magic probably permeates deep into the world of us humans as well. However, though it permeates so far, The power that dwells within magic is small. Lots of people visit shrines to pray for success on tests. However, people rarely credit such a visit as a reason for their success. By itself, praying does little more than give one peace of mind. In love, where even a small chance and a little bit of courage can result in major changes, this power can sometimes bring about incredible transformations. However, would something like that really be enough to change the insurmountable fate of furniture? In the past, when Shannon and George were brought together, I imagined that the brooch's magical power functioned as little more than a ritualistic charm. However, by now, the magical power that the furniture seek from that brooch, it's not something as vague as a ritual. It feels much stronger, like a whole different interpretation of magic. If you believe in a sleight of hand, it becomes magic. But that's no more than a child's trick, and that only explains one part of magic. They are hoping for something. They're hoping for something with much, much more power, for true magic, not a sleight of hand. So then, just what kind of magic is the furniture expecting from that brooch? And I think there's the stopping point for today. A golden butterfly brooch? We're on page 3. Hey, I might actually end up having to overwrite some of the original ones. We'll see. Any new ideas on what furniture means and why Canon and Shannon call themselves furniture? No, it's... There's always the ability for really far out theories, which I happen to be decent at. I know I can always recognize that something is up, but I can never ever point out what it is. I always get some far off example, like the Battler and Natsuhi. I know the give me a second. I know that there's the theory that Battler is the abandoned child, and that Natsuhi raised the child, tossed him off a cliff, and then there's a theory that Battler came back. But I came up with the theory that Battler was the illegitimate child of Rudolph and Natsuhi, which has potential, but very little founding. One that I came up with during the locked room is that they're the same person. Shannon and Kennen are the same person, and they can only love one way. It's a really bizarre, random theory, and I have, like, no faith in it, but it was a theory that popped up into my head for some reason. But it doesn't really fly, it doesn't really work. But hey, that's a new theory, if you wanted one. But I don't know why they call themselves furniture. There's the class example. We're just humble servants, and you are the owners in the family, and that's a love that can never be. That is a potential, but it doesn't fix everything. It doesn't entirely fit. If that were the case, Shannon and George would be fine already. And Jessica and Cannon, while that would be much less so, it's still valid. So, what is furniture? Why are they... Where's that break? Where is that... I'm firmly in Angie's boat. Where is it coming from? Why are they so dead set that magic has to take place? Why are they so dead set that only one of them can be happy? It doesn't add up. There's something there that I don't get. And the way this story goes, it's not going to be explained to me until, like, the 8th chapter or something. And this story really likes just shoving everything in your face, but not letting anything be explained. In order for something to be explained, you do have to have some evidence, some logic to it. And I bet they probably had that way back in like chapter 1 or episode 1 or something. But they filled this with so much stuff. I'm still reading this months later. It's same story every day for 2 hours a day. I've been reading this story and it's still going. You forget things. I think they've hidden the answer with spam. Anywho, that'll be it for today. Currently I'm just plodding along trying to figure out what it is. There's just too much to keep track of. If it was a little more condensed, maybe I could figure out some of it. If there were less red herrings, I could maybe figure out some of it. But in order for me to figure out before the point the story wants me to, I would have to sit back and reread all of this and go over it with a very fine-tooth comb. I personally don't have enough time to do that, so I don't. But I do have enough time to go through with it and see where it goes and try and catch up with it. Anywho, that'll be it for today. See you guys all later. Maybe we'll figure out tomorrow. Maybe I'm all wrong and they'll say it tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody. See you later.